me. I miss it, you know. I really want to hug someone.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
I go for a hug.
So, I had 2 days ago, I had this kind of...
You did?
I had this kind of feeling. I felt kind of, the first time I really feel lonely, even though I see the people on the Zoom every day because we do daily practice. But I had this feeling of feeling lonely. I was in a bad mood. And, you know, so Nif, you know, the being really, really well, that, not to worry, it has decreased a bit.
Well, luckily I didn't hold my breath.
I know. Yeah, it lasted for quite a while. But, and 2 days ago, I was in a really bad mood, actually. But then this is it, you know, when you practice, you accept it. That's it. You don't, even I admitted it in the morning session on Zoom, because people have this idea that if you're a nun and you're a Buddhist and you're a practitioner, you have to be kind of in good mood all the time. So you don't. It's okay. The main thing is that you accept and you're careful not to hurt anybody with your bad mood, and that's it. So I was the only one who suffered from the bad mood that 2 days ago, but then it disappeared. You know, this is it. It's like it comes, it goes. This is the samsaric mind, isn't it? That even though we have all these wonderful methods and we have all these tools and inspiration and good examples, still, no matter what you apply as a method, it just doesn't work. So then all there is to do is to open up and to accept, and not to be surprised and not to judge yourself. I think this is really important, especially when we come to patience, because it's such a difficult mind state to develop patience. It's really, really difficult.
If you don't mind, I will just say a few words in Hebrew, and then you can
I was
keep
just
on going.
away, actually. So yeah, please do.
אוקיי, אז שלום לכולם חברים וחברות. כמה דברים למשתתפים חדשים וגם לוותיקים שצריכים תזכורת. קודם כל, אנא, אם לא עשיתם את זה עדיין, השתיקו את עצמכם. אני תיתן מקום לשאלות, ואז תוכלו לדבר, אבל במהלך המפגש אנחנו ללא סאונד. אפשר לצפות בהקלטות של השיעורים דרך היוטיוב של ידידי הדרמה, שאפשר להיכנס אליו דרך סמל היוטיוב שנמצא בראש דף הבית של האתר. בקשה שהיא גם מאני וגם ממני, אני חושבת שמרוב האנשים הרבה יותר נעים וקהילתי כשאפשר לראות את כל המשתתפים, אז אם אתם יכולים, נשמח אם תדליקו את המצלמה שלכם. אפשר למצוא את הטקסטים שאנחנו נדבר עליהם, שאני תדבר עליהם בעמוד של המפגשים שלה, באתר ידידי הדרמה. ומי שמרגיש צורך לתת בחזרה, בתמורה לדרמה היקרה שנלמד כאן היום, יכול לעשות את זה באתר, באמצעות הפייפל או העברה בנקאית, כל הפרטים באתר של ידידי הדרמה. זהו, אני.
אוקיי. What about the continuation of these lessons after this week? Will the lessons continue?
If I don't, Leora is nodding. Leora Kenneth is nodding, so I guess I have to, isn't it? If Leora Kenneth is nodding,
I'm here.
I have no choice, Leora. I saw you nodding when somebody was asking. When somebody's asking, Miri was asking, will they continue? And Leora was nodding. So I guess I have no choice but to say yes, do I?
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I think for the moment, definitely. And also Wednesday, this is why I chose Wednesday. Wednesday, even though we're open again, Wednesday, we don't really have any activities. Wednesday is about the only evening where there is nothing here. So from my side, if you want, we can.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's great. People are interested in wanting to develop patience. I mean, how can I say no? What better present could you give to the world than patient people? So why is it so difficult to develop? Because I think we have like very deep sitting views that not reacting with aggression towards aggression is like it's being weak, is being a coward, and not only, you know, not only society or other people are telling us these things, it's we feel like this, isn't it? Yeah, so this is why I think because we don't really see the disadvantage of anger, and we don't see the advantage of patience in long terms, because in long terms, patience in a way sometimes doesn't look so good. Because you have to give up on things, and maybe you don't get what you want, and also people don't respect you. It's like when I was in Israel, I was in a school, and they were teenagers, and so I gave them, you know, we watched a small video which is about. It starts with "What about me?" Somebody always just looking for his own happiness. And then, you know, he's looking, he can't find her. And then it's "What about you?" And then, okay, I mean, it's manipulation, because then everything becomes color and the music is much nicer and like that. So to see the advantage of like putting others first. So I asked them to do advantage of putting others first and disadvantage of putting others first, because, you know, I don't want to manipulate them in a way. So they only found disadvantages. Yeah, young people, they're not interested in patience. For them, it's a sign of weakness. So this is it's practicing patience is for grown-ups. But also what I wanted to say also, because there is this school in California where they teach what is called 16 guidelines. I mean, Pam Caton has started the school, and so like from kindergarten, they learn these wonderful methods and these kind of helpful states of mind. But also the kids, they totally agree that patience is the most difficult one. So because they have colors for each, like one is joy, one is kindness, one is honesty, one is, you know, there's and like this courage. It's actually not exactly the 16 guidelines, but it goes like in that direction. They have 7 kinds of mind that are positive to develop. And so the color for patience is white. And so when the small kids, the very small kids, when they start to, there's a video like this, he starts to explain, you know, this is yellow, it's for joy. And this is, I don't know, green is for generosity, I think. And no, green is for rejoicing, and red is for generosity, and then goes to the white. And this is white, this is for patience. And this is very difficult. So all the others seem to be much more easy. So don't overestimate the task to develop patience. And especially, I think the first thing that we might have to change in our guts, you know, not just in the head, but really in our guts, that it's a good thing to develop patience or to have patience, which I think is not really there, especially not in Israel. I mean, again, it's not to criticize, but it's, yeah, so that you really need to want it in your guts, not in your head. And then these verses become very meaningful and very good. They're not so difficult to understand what it means, you know, it's just difficult to practice. But they then become very good, how to say, you know, when you try to learn to ride a bike, and well, it's not so much that anymore, because I see the small children, they don't have these side wheels anymore. They don't have any pedals, and this is how they learn the balance now. So it's something new. But when I was a kid, or when I was, yeah, no, we didn't have them either. But when I was like 20 or 30, I could see that small children, when they learn to ride a bike, first you put two wheels at the side. Yeah, did you have this in Israel also? People maybe my age, maybe you remember these kind of things. And so these verses are a little bit like these two side wheels, so that you don't go overboard. So that you have a method. because trying to develop patience and especially trying to work with your anger, nobody is saying that you should suppress your anger, but also you're not expressing it, you're not living it out. But really working with anger, you need to be so skillful that you're not damaging yourself and you're not just, you know, swallowing everything down, but that you use your cortex when you explore anger and not just your amygdala, you know, where you go into these three F modes. You might have heard, you either flight, freeze, or fight. So, so to really use your reasoning, and again, not so much, it's a bit difficult with the reasoning, not so much intellectual reasoning, but more reasoning in the heart, to really feel how hurtful anger is for you and for others, and to really feel how quickly anger can destroy like things that we've been built up over a long time, and how it totally spoils your life in a way. I think one of the problems with anger also is that it gives you a lot of energy. So then we like it. You know, it gives us courage. It gives us energy. It kind of masquerades a bit as our bodyguard. Somebody, you know, who is there to protect us. But again, it's not really, you know, I mean, especially not for Buddhists. Okay, if you're not a Buddhist, it could look like that. If you're not a Buddhist, it could look that you get attacked and treated in a kind of disrespectful way all the time because you're not fighting for yourself and you're not standing up for yourself. For a non-Buddhist, it might look like this. And then if I get really angry, then people will respect me. That's what anger says, doesn't it? Okay, let's do a short reflection maybe on this, okay? Because also I asked you last week that you should during the week kind of get familiar with, and from your side, you know, and again from the feeling side, not so much from the head side, that you become aware of the disadvantages of anger, because we need to see these things, okay? Okay, so you try to sit with a straight back, but in a relaxed way. Especially when we talk about anger, not to make a promise to yourself, not to start feeling guilty, please. Guilt is not Buddhist, okay? There's not many things you're not allowed as a Buddhist. One of them is guilt is not allowed as a Buddhist. It's forbidden. You have to be joyful and open, not guilty. Guilt is so stupid and so useless. It just blocks us. It's very Jewish. Come on, it's not only Jewish. You're not the only ones feeling guilty. But yeah, I know it's also one thing. Okay, so you try to go from the head to the heart, means you connect with your body. Because the head we can't feel, the heart we can feel. And you really connect to what is there, and you allow everything that is there to be just as it is, but being awake, being aware, being mindful, noticing it. Not so much judging it, this is good, this is bad, just to notice it. So if you feel that you're feeling really well, so it's fantastic. And you could even, you know, open up your heart and think, wow, I'm feeling so well. May everybody enjoy these feelings of wellness, spaciousness, well-being, joy, happiness. And then see what happens when you nourish these feelings of being well with these kind of thoughts. Just observing. Maybe you don't feel so well. Maybe you're disappointed, maybe a bit anxious, maybe bored. And then you need to ask yourself, what's wrong? And you listen. Because we hardly ever listen to that voice that kind of tries to tell us something, that something is wrong. And then it needs to express itself in all kinds of ways, with negative emotions or with sicknesses. And also you can observe when you ask yourself what's wrong, just observe, where does the attention go? And we ask ourselves, where does it hurt? What is wrong? We can feel that either in the heart, like in the middle of your chest, sometimes in the belly, sometimes in the throat. And we can also open up our heart towards that feeling not so happy or not so well by thinking of others who must be in the same state. And by thinking, may nobody experience this sadness, this being anxious or frightened or disappointed, hurt feelings. So we open up our heart, again, understanding we're not alone, we're not the only ones. And then also very important, if you don't feel so well, not to make it permanent. What we try to do in these mindfulness or, kind of looking inside meditations, we try to see the nature of these things. They're not permanent. They're changing. So don't cling to them. And maybe remember a moment when you were well, when you were strong, happy, open, spacious. These are usually the words that we use for happiness. Being open, spacious, calm, peaceful. And then liking and loving others is very easy when the mind is in such a state. And also when you feel really well, think about impermanence. I know that there we don't want to think about impermanence, but that also changes. So then, when the happiness kind of decreases and the heart starts to close up again, we're not so disappointed, we're not surprised. It's the nature of samsara, it's constantly up and down. So we don't need to cling to these emotions, be it really well or really bad. It changes. And that goes for pleasant feelings and for unpleasant feelings. So we don't have to cling to pleasant ones, and we don't have to push away the unpleasant ones. They have their own life, according to what kind of karma is ripening at the moment. Okay, so maybe think about what you did last week, if you did it, kind of reflecting a bit on the disadvantages of anger. So thinking about our own anger, this becomes quite difficult because our anger always seems to be justified, isn't it? So think about somebody who is angry at you. Okay, before we said, well, if I'm not standing up for myself with force and with anger, people will not respect me. So think about that person who is angry at you. Do you respect that person? Maybe you're frightened of this person, but this is not respect. Do you like the person? Do you trust this person? Is that person telling the truth? Would you want to go on a holiday with this person? Even you don't have to pay for it, share a double room with a person like this. Even you get a free voucher, you would probably say, oh, no, I don't want to go, isn't it? Okay, so since you are sitting so calmly, because it's like on this level that we can understand better, because we feel it, we experience it. So think about somebody that makes you angry or impatient, let's say, because it's about patience, frustrated, impatient. And get in contact with that sensation. How does anger, impatience feel? Rejection. Does it feel pleasant? And then try to think about something that you really like, good food, or I don't know, a good smell, or some kind of sense pleasure that you kind of find really attractive and really good. Food is probably the best. Food or wine, maybe. I've never done that, so I don't know if it's going to work. Try to see how that really attractive kind of sense pleasure looks when that angry person is still in your mind. Or also to see, is your mind more interested in holding that kind of person that makes you angry, or is it more interested in the pleasure? You have to be really vigilant. We have to be really attentive, not in the head, as I said. It's not an easy exercise, okay? Because you can't hold both at the same time. So what is the mind more interested in? Where is there more energy? Where is there more pulling towards the object? The person who makes you impatient, I hope you find somebody like this, because otherwise it doesn't work. Or the sense pleasure. So I don't know, you know, again, it's too many people to discuss it. Again, I don't want to say go away, so but this is how it is. Don't know if anybody kind of noticed something, or do you want, you know that if you want to say something really short, you can just touch the space bar, and then it opens up your microphone. Somebody wants to say where the mind is more attracted to? Where it's easier to, you know, which object is stickier? Which object is easier to hold in the mind? Tali?
Anger.
Anger. Does everybody agree? Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's enough if you go like this, you know. This is it, you know, this is one thing, this is one kind of strange thing about anger, or ridiculous thing about anger, is that even though the person makes us feel uncomfortable, we go like, ugh, you know, I mean, definitely, anybody thought that, oh yeah, if the holiday is free, I go with this person, never mind that it's making me kind of feel unpleasant. Would anybody go with that person? Yeah, so even though there would be something kind of an advantage in for you, we won't know. So we don't want to be together with this person, yet the mind is totally glued to this person. Ronit, do you want to say something, or did you?
I just joined.
You just joined. Hello.
Sorry for the delay.
It's okay, no problem. So I think one thing, what really helped me, because my problem was not so much desire, but more like aversion, or, you know, like not being able to be together with people that they just really, they got on my nerves. And I never had any tools to work with them. So I tried to be really, I mean, not consciously, I mean, it comes automatically, isn't it, that we become really, really awful to these people. Whatever they like, we don't like. Whatever they say, this is nice, we say, no, this is awful. When they say yes, we say no. It's like, and you feel, actually, it's only after starting with Buddhism, or maybe when I started to go into psychotherapy also, I started to consciously see how ridiculous that is. You know, you're like an idiot. It's like, you want to be kind, you can't, even though they like something and you also like it, but all of a sudden you don't like it anymore, or you say you don't like it. And then they even ask you, hey, come on, you know, what have I done to you? What's wrong with you? And then you go like, no, nothing. It's like, anger has such a power over us. We are so much under the control of anger. And so what helped me, one day when I was really I didn't like that person. It's very difficult to be together with the person. So I thought, because I'm also arrogant, okay, I wonder if somebody kind of also writes, this is also a Jewish thing. No, only the guilt, arrogance, no. We're all arrogant, you know, we all suffer from these things. I know that there's some national delusions that are a bit stronger in some nations than in others, but it's okay. So kind of, because I'm also arrogant, I thought, like, I don't want to be under the control of this person so much. You know, I really got upset how much this person has the power. I just need to think about this person and the joy is already gone. This is how much power people have over you when you are angry at them. So then maybe when we see this, then maybe we have more interest in wanting to develop patience. I don't know, because it has to come from deep within. Yes, I want to develop patience, and yes, this is a good thing. Even though the people around me, they say, hey, what's the matter with you? Why don't you fight? Why don't you get angry? Then I don't know what you would tell them. So, it has to be something intelligent. You can say, oh, I'm doing an experiment. I'm trying something. So they don't worry so much that you will be patient for the rest of your life. And you're not fighting with them anymore. Yeah. So anybody wants to maybe give me more disadvantages of anger? You can put it in the chat if you want. I can patiently wait for you to manifest something. Because that was the homework for the whole week. Do you remember? Anybody remembers? Oh.
Can you hear me?
When I'm angry.
Okay, Maya wants to say something.
Yes.
I think for me, it makes me close my heart to the people that I'm angry at.
It closes your heart, you said.
Yeah, for the people that I'm angry, I cannot, and this is, I cannot wish for them to be happy or to have good things, and I don't like it.
Okay.
Also,
I think what Maya just said, let me look at the chat, maybe it's the same thing. You can get ulcer and heart attack from anger, yeah. Also from suppressing anger, but it's still anger, okay? So this is the thing. But what Maya said, this is probably the most striking thing with anger. You can't enjoy anything. And you get up in the morning making plans, how can I enjoy my day? And you are not kind of looking at the one who is sabotaging your joy, which is anger, and you allow it to come up whenever it wants to come up. Yeah, you're not mindful enough to see when it starts to kind of come up a little bit, and you go, oh, I saw you, and no, I'm not going to fall into the trap. It can make you feel very lonely. Yeah, once the anger is gone, then you feel very lonely. You see, I think the problem is it's with all the delusions. When they are when they're present in the mind, we don't see that disadvantage. Yeah, we feel strong, we feel courageous, and especially with anger, you feel right. This is it. This is the biggest problem about anger. It tells you, I am right, and this is a good thing to be angry now. And I have to be angry because otherwise I am not going to change that person. But now again, for the Buddhists, where in the texts did you read that you have to change other people? Can you please tell me where? Because then we can, I'm lately angry, not exactly, wait, that's gone. I'm lately angry, not exactly the right word for being unable to help a person. Yeah, exactly. Who is in need, and I'm not near the person, and it's so difficult to do this over the phone, okay? When we cannot help, there's arrogance also, yeah? Then we get impatient and we get frustrated. Then, Varda, you would look at the Patience chapter and you would take verse number 10, where it says, what's the point about getting upset about something that you can change? And what's the point about getting upset about that you cannot change? The country will open up again, so you can go near that person. But also this whole thing also that we want to control people. I mean, it's so strong, yeah. Even wanting to help them is, for us, unrealized beings, is some kind of wanting to have control over them. I am helping them, now they have to accept the help, therefore now they have to be happy. I see it with therapists, when somebody tries to help me with the, body therapist. I feel how they, when they give me a few sessions and this and that, but then they have this hope that I'm saying, yes, it helps, yes, I feel better. It's like, yeah, this is the thing. We invest something in somebody else. when we are trying to be helpful. So then please, show some results, isn't it? Otherwise we're disappointed, or we start to ask ourselves, oh, it's my mother, not that I need anything in return. Yeah, but you still would like to have some result that your help is working, definitely. Yeah. Otherwise, why would you get impatient? Why? And also, then what anger does, anger, and not just anger, also the other things, the other emotions. Anger freezes it into the situation, into permanence. I'm pretty sure you've been kind of a bit frustrated or sad or whatever about not being able to help your mom when there was no restrictions, when we could still go and see them. I'm pretty sure, but we think, no, it's because now I can't be near her and it's very difficult. And it is difficult. The other day I was going for a walk in the graveyard, and I was thinking, like, my gosh, if somebody dies now and people are not able to hug each other, the ones who are still alive, I mean, are not able to hug and to comfort each other. And this is a terrible situation, because the human contact and human touch, I mean, is so important when all the words fall short. Yeah. But you can still, even on the telephone, Valda, you can still keep your heart open and breathe. When you feel this kind of, this energy coming up, and then, notice it and breathe, stay with it, breathe into it, So this you can still do, because here really mindfulness is the key to all these things. The moment we notice it, then we are out of the tension or of the closeness, and we're just looking at the closeness. We're not the closeness anymore. It's still closed, but less. Like me with my bad mood, I was still in a bad mood, but because I was just watching it, what he was saying and what he's doing, then you don't feed into it. Anger we usually feed, because then we think, why this right now is so difficult? Because of the situation. You even mentioned it. Yeah? And then it gets even closer, because again, the reason is outside. But it's not easy. This is why I'm saying, it's really not easy. But something I need to go back to, which I haven't finished, when I said for non-Buddhists, it can seem that, being angry or getting things with anger, that it works, because when you get angry, you get what you want and you get what you need. And very often, especially in Israel, people tell me that if you're not angry, then, you don't get what you want. I don't know. I've never noticed it. So this goes for the non-Buddhists. Okay. Yeah. For the Buddhists, why are you not getting what you want? Somebody can say or put it in the chat. Why are you not getting what you want? For the Buddhists. Karma, exactly. Thank you very much. This is it. So when we react with anger, we are creating more imprints that we will not get what we want. Yeah. So when we react with patience, then because you're still creating the cause. Yeah, right. So when we react with patience, we won't get what we want. Don't think that, oh, I'm being patient now, so I get what we want. It's not like this, But the negative imprint from the past of not getting what you want, that one is about to ripen, but at least you are not putting new ones in. Okay? But again, it's really, really important that you need to know what anger is. So acting forcefully is not necessarily anger. And the best example is a mother. A mother who told the kid, I don't know how many times, not to run over the street without looking for the cars in a very peaceful and in a very kind way, and explaining it and explaining it and explaining it, and whoosh, and the kid is doing it again. And the mother, because she wants to protect the child, grabs the child by the shoulders and even shakes it and says, don't do that. That's legitimate. Because why? Because you love your child. So if you use forceful methods, because now, you know, the ego is coming up again and says, oh, maybe I don't have to be patient all the time, you know, isn't it? The ego likes to hear these things, that it's okay to react forcefully. But when you react forcefully, I mean, it's so important that you are thinking about the other person, especially, and not because that you're not thinking about you. And that is so difficult to see the difference. So definitely first try in a peaceful way before you go, before we fall into the trap of doing it in a kind of very wrathful way. Yeah. But here again, you know, meditation, mindfulness, awareness, conscientiousness, which is in chapter 4 and 5 of the Bodhisattva, it has to be there. Otherwise, you will fail again and again and again and again. And even with conscientiousness and awareness, you will fall again and again and again, because we have very deep sitting habits. So please do not judge yourself for always falling into the same pattern. You know, for quite a while, it's normal. But again, saying this can sound like, okay, then don't do anything, then it's okay. No, it's not okay. Apply some regret, not guilt, okay? Apply some regret by saying, oh shit, I did it again. You know, next time I'll be more careful. And if you don't feed your anger by thinking about the situation again and again and again and again, you know, this obsessiveness, because that's also what anger is doing. It's totally obsessive. It kind of rehashes the story again and again and again and again. And a good thing, a good antidote would be when you have a good friend that records what you're saying, and then the next friend that you're telling the story also records it, and then the next friend that you're telling the story also records it, and then at the end, after having told the story 10 times, you compare the recordings, and then you see whether the story is still the same. Because anger is lying. Anger is seeing only one side. And then somehow anger maybe knows it's not totally right. So it needs to add, you know, it needs to add to the thing. So for this, very good friends that you know that they're not judging you or whatever, it's quite good. And when they kind of say, but last time it was a bit different what you said, you know, it wasn't that bad or something like, or are you sure that it was like this? Maybe not just telling you it's wrong, but, you know, making you maybe a bit kind of taking it back and kind of going, are you sure it's like this? Or you can be that good friend that you ask yourself, was it really like this? Was it really that bad? Was it only really that side? Yeah. Have you noticed how anger is righteous? You know, sometimes people ask me about righteous anger, and then usually my standard question is, every anger is righteous. Every anger thinks it's right. Otherwise, we wouldn't get angry. Yeah. Anybody has a comment to that? Disagreement or agreement, everything is okay. Okay, Dani is agreeing. So it's so easy to talk about it, isn't it? And then it's so difficult to do and so difficult to see. Yeah. And I think it's especially difficult for us Westerners because, you know, believing in our Buddha potential, believing in this beautiful mind, this beautiful potential that we all have to be good, to be courageously good, like to have goodness and courage, not needing anger in order to be courageous, to be patient, to be understanding, to be wise, to see that everything is just a protection of my mind. Everything is empty from any inherent existence. This is just samsara, which like my mind is creating that reality. There's nothing that is just good. There's nothing that is just bad. It's like we all have this potential, but it's kind of plastered up with this ego grasping that we think we need to protect. And then also, you know, our interest very much, I'm sorry to say, because me also, goes into this life, being comfortable now, being okay now, having pleasure now, not losing anything now. If you look at all your fears or your, closed heart or insecurities and all that, it's another very good exercise that one can think about from time to time. And if you look, well, is this worry for this life? Because then you hear the Lama saying, if you worry about this life, it's not even practicing Dharma. Come on, Because most of the things we worry about in this life is like, we can't do anything anyway. Yeah. It's about reputation. Will I be liked? Will I have success? Will I this and that? How will people see me? Will they love me? And all this. And then you think, well, in next life, this is not important anymore. The main thing is when I think about next life, I'm not creating negative karma. This is much more important than people liking me. Even if the whole world likes you, loves you, you will still have to die. You still have anger. You still have all these things. Yeah, and we carry them with us in our next life. Yeah. So most of our daily worries that we have, or the worries that we have, try to see whether you can really do something about this, which is, verse 10 is one of my favorite verses. It's verse 10. Can I do something about it? Can I make people love me? Can I make people like me? Can I make people, giving me success or something like that? When you go, oh, no, I can't. Then the worry is gone and you become open and free again. And then, so what do you prefer, the whole world loving you or you having an open heart towards them? What do you prefer? What is more important? Huh? What do you think? You have a right to think, my dears. What do you think? What would you choose if you would have to make a choice? You don't know? Okay, then think about it. If you don't know now, keep thinking about this. And I think one thing also maybe why it is becomes so difficult is because we notice the negative states of minds very much, but we hardly ever notice to love others. Exactly. Thank you very much. But we hardly ever notice our positive states of mind. We're not really with them. We notice the presence of negative emotions, like we go like, it's the same. It is the same thing. If I open my heart to them, they will open. No, not necessarily. That's Tali Haran. Which are you the one with the curls? Not necessarily. If somebody, the people that I disliked, they really liked me. They actually loved me because when I asked them much later, because this was a period when I gave up drinking alcohol. I was an alcoholic. And this was in that period when I gave up drinking and I didn't have that crutch anymore to make my mind relaxed. And I treated my best friend in a really bad way. And once the whole thing was finished and I was kind of normal again, like many years later, I asked her, I said, why didn't you say something? Why didn't you protest? Why didn't you kind of scream at me or leave me, because she was working for me? Why didn't you leave me? And she said, because I saw that you were suffering. So she didn't get angry, but would have been, if she would have been kind to me, it would have been worse. She was very clever. She kind of left me alone as much as possible. There are many situations when it is not, oh, that was too quick, wait. There are many situations when it's not evident that if you can or can't do something about this. Yeah, this is samsara, we never know, because we kind of, all these situations we kind of judge. It is a bed. I have a lot of doubts. I would love to be sure of your teachings. This is your problem, Bruno. This is not mine. What is it? But I have uncertainty. I would like to have at last a good life with good reputation, good job. Yeah, try to get this and see what it does for you. It's never enough. It is never enough, because happiness is not coming from these things, and we keep running after them. And we think, come on, Bruno, you have a good job. At least you had one in Tahiti. Yeah, what happened? You left. You know, we think that if we have a good job, good reputation and all this is what we work very much for. And we never really examine that. Does it give me what I want? Whereas if you have an open heart towards beings and you are able to accept them the way they are, even if you don't have a good job, doesn't matter. Lama Zopa Rinpoche, he gave a talk once to the school kids in Bodh Gaya, you know, the Root Institute. They have a school there, which is called Maitreya School, and especially for families who don't have money, and they get very good education, like from mostly Western. Maya, you know, you've been there? Root Institute, the Maitreya School, okay. They get very good education. So Lama Zopa Rinpoche gave him a talk, and he said, okay, to the kids, you know, who come from poor families. They also have rich families because they don't want to create, they're very clever. They don't want to create these exclusive poor family kind of children who then have good education. They wanted also them to mix with kids from kind of family who could pay then for the school fees. And the families who could pay, they were very happy to pay because it is a very good school. So then the people they mixed. Rakefet, what do you mean? Can you give an example? Okay. I need to continue here because otherwise I get too much distracted. So he told them, he said, look, I know you're here because you want to have a good education, because then you can get a good job, earn a lot of money, and you know, have good reputation and all this. But if you don't have a good heart at the same time, and you start to fight, and you start to kind of be not just with the other people for getting the job or whatever, you start to cheat because of money and because of your good job. And especially if you don't have a good heart in your family, there won't be harmony. So then he said, but if you have a good heart, even you don't have a good job, even you don't have a lot of money, at least you will have a happy life in your family and with your friends. So this was the message from Lama Zopa Rinpoche for these people. Yeah. You see, a good reputation, a good job. Gosh, you know, there's always somebody who has a better reputation than you have. Then what are you going to do? Be unhappy or rejoice that somebody has a better reputation? There's a lot of fear that comes with these things. What if I lose my good reputation? And you can't force people to have a good reputation, a good opinion about you. You cannot, yeah? And the more you are not happy with yourself, the more you make it difficult for others to be happy with what you are and how you are, you know? So, you know, I mean, do you know with people who have very good reputation, are very famous? You know, I know a few people who were very famous. One of them is Greta Garbo. I mean, I know her. She doesn't really know me, but I know her personally. How many people remember her? Oh, quite a few. She was called the Divine. I was working in a sport shops in Davos. She was world famous, right? She was a beautiful lady. But all her managers and all this, like she was without money. So she would come to the sports shop to buy clothes when it was sales because she had very little money. She was totally depressed. She was totally afraid. We still would have, you know, if she would have allowed us to admire her, we would have done it, but we were not allowed. Nobody was allowed to talk to her but one person that she wanted. All of us, we had to look away when she came. She was world famous. They didn't help her. Yeah. It was a very good example for me to see that fame, money, intelligence, it's not a guarantee for a happy mind. Absolutely not. But a good heart is. But then again, you know, do you have a good heart for others because you want them to be kind to you? Or do you have a good heart for others just because because in order to have a good heart. So this is why we did these reflections at the beginning. So you start to compare, you know, how does it feel when this is there? How does it feel when that is there? So we use the mindfulness to really experience these sensations, not just up in the head. Yeah. So certainty, can you get certainty that this is all true? No, you can only, you know, this whole thing about getting certainty, is it true or not? This is when you want to have it on paper, black and white, and I don't know what. It's like Buddhism is a vehicle or a teaching where you have to experience the things, not to believe, but to experience. But in order to be able to experience, you still have to try it out. Yeah, and then you have these, I don't know if you remember the 3 different kinds of faith. Anybody remembers that? Ooh. 3 different kinds of faith that we need to have in order to progress on the path. Okay, shall I tell you? Or shall I
leaking
wait a
cup?
little bit?
Are you talking about the cup that's leaking? And the
No,
cup?
no, this is how you
No.
listen to the teachings, but it's good. Try, yeah, keep trying. Maybe
To hear,
it's the right thing. Huh?
to hear the teaching, then to reflect on them, and then
That is
meditate.
also, yeah, that is also
The same.
something officially Buddhist, but it's not the 3 kinds of faith, but good try.
I remember the first one.
Nice when you remember bits and pieces that belong somewhere. So it's very nice, very good.
The first one is to be impressed by something.
Yes. I call the aspiring face. You know, you see somebody that you see somebody that inspires you, somebody that you admire. That's the word. It's admiring face, like the Dalai Lama, for example. You see him and then you go like, wow, how can he, with such a difficult life, have no anger for the Chinese? They took away his country. How can we not be angry at him? Now you can think he's an idiot, okay? Then you don't admire it. Or you can see how relaxed he is in his very difficult situation, you know, having to deal with many, many problems. And still he's so relaxed and he's so bubbling over with joy sometimes. But he's also very much in touch with his emotions. He can also cry in front of everybody. Yeah, he is living. I mean, if I want to, I just, you know, just came now to describe the Dalai Lama. He's alive. He lives everything, but in a relaxed way. And, you know, just talking about him and tears in my eyes, it's like, wow. Somebody who can, just by being the way he is, influence so many people. So this is admiring face. And then you go like, why is he like this? And then you start to who said it? I mean, Ronit, you said, yeah? Then you start to listen to the teachings, what he's teaching, yeah? Then you start to think about them. Does it make sense? This is all your responsibility. You cannot ask your Lama, give me faith, give me certainty. You have to find it by listening to the teachings, then by thinking about them. Does it make sense to me that a good heart is better than being angry and impatient and jealous and, you know, just concerned about myself and so on? And then you need to integrate it. So first you have admiring faith. Then you have aspirational faith. I want this. Then you start to practice these things, but really practice, not just listening to the teachings. You know, practice by practicing mindfulness, awareness, conscientiousness, and then learning to look inside how it feels when you are angry, how it feels when you are totally with somebody else that you like, that you love. Yeah? When you can let go of what you want because somebody else wants something different and you're happy, like a mother again, you're happy that the child eats the dessert and not you. Yeah, to feel that feeling of rejoicing when somebody else that you like is doing. So you think about this, you start to get some experiences and then you sit down and meditate on them. And then you get what is called the face of conviction. So what most of the people want is face of conviction. Why? Because we don't want to look like friars by practicing patience, and then it doesn't work and we're still unhappy. Maybe, you know, kind of like I told you the story about, like last time, I think this guy in Tel Aviv who looked at me and said, well, is it worthwhile? You know, do you remember the story I told you? Was it you or was it another group? It was you, yeah? Like I have, for what I'm doing, because people think I'm giving up on a lot of things. I'm not giving up on anything, actually, you know. I gave up on climbing and skiing, yes, but now I'm happy that I gave up because you know, that the pull is not there anymore to go. If I wouldn't have given up, I would have gone until the body cannot go anymore. And then the pull to do this would still be there. Giving up is freedom, by the way, but it hurts at the beginning. But then you are free. You know, when the pull towards these things is not there anymore, then you're free. So first you have to give up. So why do we have this convicting faith? Because we're such kind of profiteur, how to say, we're such, you know, only if there is benefit in it, we want to do it, but we don't know. With the Dharma, we don't know. Somebody at one point asked me, well, how do you know? It wasn't an Israeli, by the way. It was an American. How do you know there is a liberation and enlightenment so that you're going that way? I said, I don't know. But by going that way and by applying the methods in order to get there, I see that I become calmer, I become more normal, I'm less anxious, I don't need drugs and alcohol anymore. So even if there's no enlightenment, doesn't matter, it's definitely worthwhile. So you see, this is something that you have to discover. Is it worthwhile to give up on anger and impatience and all this? Yeah. But then again, you know, I just look at Rakefet. I see her there in the corner down there. Then again, you know, when you are fighting for things, when we see all this injustice in the world, it's like, again, it's like, it's so difficult not to get angry. And then we think, whoa, but the anger is for other people. But again, if you want to make a change in the world, then anger is not, you know, there can be another energy that is making us wanting to make change, which is love, compassion, and wisdom. That energy is much calmer, but I think it's more effective. But again, we forget karma and conditions, and this is samsara, and it's just projection. You know, in Switzerland, the shops for plants and to build things opened on Monday. And then, of course, in the news, there's the queues, you know, 8 to 7 o'clock in the morning in front of these shops, like the queues. And I thought, like, oof, you know, this hope that the world is going to change a lot once the crisis is over. I think it's not good to have this kind of hope. Better to give it up now, you know, because it's like, there are people who are greedy. There are people who are totally inconsiderate. There are people who are just concerned about their own thing, and they want the plant now at 8 o'clock in the morning. And there was no fighting. That was a good thing, even though they even in Switzerland, they had kind of put security people, you know, in case people start fighting with each other, because they were prepared for it. So we can get really upset about this and really sad. Or we had it in IKEA, okay? Yeah. So you can get really sad or angry, or you can just say, look, I'm not here to educate these people further. At the beginning, I'm here to educate my mind so that I'm not creating more negative karma. And also, I can say, I don't have to contribute to this. You know, I'm not even going there, even though I also want new flowers for my balcony, but it's okay. You know, I wait another little bit. And then, funny enough, but I didn't have money with me. So I usually go for a walk in the graveyard. So there's a flower shop in the graveyard, but nobody went there to buy flowers. But they also have pots to put on the graves. In Switzerland, we put flowers on the graves. So I could have bought it there without any queue, you know. So, but so this is what I just wanted to say. Also, it's like, we have to find out for ourselves, will this work? And how are you going to find out? Is by trying it out, by practicing it. And the thing is, for the practice to really start to work, at the beginning, it's bloody painful, I'm sorry to say, you know, because then again, you know, we all have these, how to say, we all have these intentions wanting to change the world and change people. And then we hear the Mahayana teaching, I want to be of benefit to them. I want to be of benefit to them. I want to help them. I want everybody to be happy. And then we forget, but these are at the end of the path, you know. First comes ethical conduct, my ethical conduct, my karma, my mindfulness, my being calm, my practicing the four immeasurables, and so on. Yeah, we forget sometimes. So yeah, it's difficult. And certainty I cannot give. And doubt is a very good mind, by the way. You need doubt on the path. Those who have studied, what's it called? Lorig. Yeah, the mind and its functions. Doubt is one of the mental factors that come. First, wrong view. We have wrong view, like a mind who sees things in a wrong way. Then what we need in order for this wrong view to change first is doubt. We need to start doubting our wrong view. And at the beginning, it's still, you know, teaming up with the wrong view. Says, what the Buddha says, I don't know, you know. Poof, not sure if this is worthwhile. Oof. So it kind of goes, the doubt goes to the negative. Then if we are persevering and we keep meeting all these Buddhists all the time, and we see that they are really happy and they're really calm and they're really kind and they're easy to be with and all this, not all of them, but some of them. So go and find the good ones, okay, please. Yeah, if you're new, then don't go to the not so good ones like me. Go to the, you know, I'm talking to Bruno here because I'm thinking about Charles. You know, Charles is like a monk in Vajrayana Institute. I mean, just seeing him. You know him, Maya? You're nodding. You know Charles? Anybody else who knows him? I mean,
I just heard about him. I've never met him, but I've heard a lot about him from.
He gave a talk like also on Zoom last Sunday, and I said, because I was supposed to teach for the French group, I said I'm not teaching while Charles is on the TV. You know, I want to listen to him. Yeah, so meet him and see where does he come from. He's a result of these teachings. Yeah, me, I'm still working on it. Yeah, also. So this is what I'm saying. You have to experience it, and it's your responsibility, you know. You see what Bruno is saying, just hearing Charles 5 minutes, I say just seeing him is enough, quiets you, and you are in contact with your, you see, he reflects, this is mirror neurons, he reflects your potential because he's so open, he's so wonderful, he's just so amazing. How did we get to, Charles? About the certainty. So again, the certainty, whether there is really a total liberation of all negative emotions, you will only have when you're free of these negative emotions. So, you know, but we can have some kind of phase of conviction that this is a good thing. Yeah. A very good friend of mine who died at maybe 42, and she was, they were married, no children, a lot of money, total pleasure people, but pleasure not in a gross way, really refined, like a lot of culture, lots of travel, very, you know, they had a loft in London, so everybody who came there, they could stay there, like they had lots of friends, really, really nice people, but pleasure, you know. So she was dying at 42, and I went to visit her in the hospital, and I was a witness when they got married. And I just got ordained, actually. And they married in Nepal. He's Indian, she's Canadian. She was Canadian. So she asked me, she said, because it was maybe 15 years after you know, after they got married and after I met them, that she then died. So she asked me, was it worthwhile these 15 years of being a nun? Because I met them in Kovalam Beach, okay? I was still a layperson, still into pleasure, still, you know, good wine, good food, movies, all these kind of things. So I stopped, but then they continued. So she said, was it worthwhile? And I was really surprised that she would ask me that question. And I said, what do you mean? She said, well, you know, the choice that you made to become a nun, or it doesn't have to be nun, like a spiritual practitioner, was it worthwhile? Has something changed in your life that you find of benefit? And it just kind of poured out of me. I didn't even think about it. I said, yeah, I think I became more normal. So, you know, so that question that she's asking after having all these very, very deep and very refined pleasures, I mean, it tells you something that she was looking for something, and she was looking for something in her last few weeks. So, so we had nice conversations, and she died also. She died very peacefully. She was a very good person. You see, it's not a sin to have a lot of pleasures, because also they shared with a lot of people. Yeah, so it's not a sin. But at the end, at the end of your life, they cannot do so much for you, because what they do, what they could do, and this is the danger about pleasures, they could wake up a feeling of, I'm losing all this, I can't have this anymore. Sense pleasures that do not create satisfaction. They create by themselves, because they are distorted also because of attachment, they create by themselves a longing for more. Because it's the same as for fame, you project into the thing being liked by others, having a good reputation. I mean, come on, it's so stressful having a good reputation, because you have to be good all the time. You know, when people hear me for the first time and then they say, oh, I heard so much about you, I don't like this, because then they're full of expectations. You know, when I was in Mexico, nobody knew me. At the end, they said, oh, we didn't know you were so good. That's much more relaxing when they have absolutely no expectations from you, because then you have a better chance that they're happy about what you're doing. Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. Good reputation and all these things is very, very stressful. If you want a good reputation because you want to be of benefit to others, that's good. That is a very good intention, because in order to be able to help others, in order for people to trust you, you need to have at least some kind of good reputation, but not for you, but in order to be of benefit to others, right? Yeah. Okay, shall we start with the text? We have 15 more minutes. Genso Namrinchen said, die without regret. To my deluded mind, I have to open it, you see. To die without regret, to my deluded mind, sounds you, friend, may have had some regret despite the good. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Exactly. Regrets, maybe not, but still something. You know the song by, who is it? Maybe Freddie Mercury? There must be more to life than just living. You know, who knows the song? Go and find it during the week and listen to it. Was it Freddie Mercury? Who was it? And but okay, yeah. It's okay to love wine. When you have a pleasure, this is what I'm saying. In order for the pleasure to become meaningful, think, at one point, may I enjoy the pleasure of an open heart, for example. May I enjoy the pleasure of giving love unconditionally, because that's the biggest pleasure. May I enjoy the pleasure of having skillful means to be able to help others. That's the biggest pleasure that you can have. Samuel, tu peux fermer ton micro, s'il te plaît?
Pardon.
Merci. So that is when you have sense pleasure, you know, because we need to have sense pleasure. That's another thing. You need to know sense pleasure in order to go and look for deeper pleasure. If you have a totally terrible life, it's very difficult to practice Dharma. because you don't have these feelings of happiness. Yeah, then you need to go to a psychologist first, a psychologist who can guide you very, very slowly to what is good in your life, so that you don't feel guilty about not being happy. Okay? Because when you have sense pleasures, like this lady with so much pleasure, at the end of, then when you've had it, then you feel like there must be more than just that. And then you're looking for deeper pleasure, which is, for example, a calm mind, a concentrated mind. Freddie Mercury, yeah, I thought it was him. Thank you, Walda. And I think he also sang it together in a duet with Michael Jackson, I think. It's the two of them, if I remember.
Yes, you're right.
Hmm?
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, okay. So you see, I was not always the totally renounced nun who never listened to music or whatever. So this is my, when I was before, yeah. So I only know the films and the songs that were before my becoming a nun. So like that. So then you long for deeper pleasure. But when she died, actually her last words were, just to show you that she's a really nice person and she died very peacefully, her last words were peace and love for the world. And she died very peacefully. Okay, so because they did a lot of good, as I'm saying, they were sharing their pleasures. They were not just having them for themselves. But her husband, still today, he suffers very, very much. He can't be alone. He really, really misses her, because it was for pleasure, they were the perfect couple. And very nice people, both of them professors at the university in London. Yeah, so like that. So we can either go for this, for pleasure, or we can go for something that even when the body, because her body was not able to experience pleasure anymore, because she had cancer. Yeah. So that's why also. Yeah. Whereas when you can think about the pleasures that you shared with others, thanks to us having so much money, we were able to share with some Mexican friends who did not have money, and then they always paid without any regret, without wanting anything back, just in order to share. So that can give you some kind of happy feeling or some kind of open heart. Yeah, right. I can't read this aloud because I start crying, okay? So you can see it in the chat, the words. Also it continues kind of, what is this world, which is all the fighting and all the wars and children being hungry and all this. There must be more to life than just living. So in Buddhist terms, it would be, generate compassion and wisdom. This would be, and you have plenty of methods. And one of them is the Bodhicharyavatara, which I still haven't started with the if you cry, we love you even more. Yeah, well, I don't know. But anyway, yeah. It's I'm very moved by these things very often. It is one of my favorite songs, together with Anthem by Leonard Cohen. That one is top. That one is top of the list. So every time you feel a bit sad, you feel a bit bleh, go and listen to Anthem, because there we go, because he really tells you that there's always something good. But you need to look for it. Yeah. And then ring those bells that still can ring. And forget the perfect offering. There's a crack in everything. This is how the light gets in. Sorry. This is how the light gets in. Where do I find Charles? Oh, in Vajragini Institute on their website, probably a video or something like that. His name is Venerable Charles Trebol. So, yeah. Okay. Anyway, we do the first verse, okay? So that we at least, we started with the text. This is what Lama Zopa usually does. I'm not comparing myself to Lama Zopa, okay? Okay. Great, thank you. You need to go a little bit down. Perfect. Whatever wholesome deeds, such as venerating the Buddhas and generosity that have been amassed over 1,000 eons, will all be destroyed in a moment of anger. Okay, so now you can take the text away again. That's fine. I think everybody saw it. So Shantideva is really telling us how dangerous anger is. Now, but here he talks about an anger, you know, we need to define anger. It's not that kind of impatience or frustration when we see injustice. It's not that. It's an anger who really wants to hurt. So when it's about injustice, it could also be the anger against the aggressor. That is negative, because you don't want the aggressor to be well, so unhappy, so that he stops harming others. You want to harm that person, because what anger is telling us, and this is totally wrong also, is if I make the other person suffer, they will learn. Anger is not telling us that in the head. Anger is telling us that deep in the guts. This is why we are aggressive to people, in order for them to change. But in general, they get either frightened, then maybe, yes, they will do what you want them to do, but the moment you turn your back, they fall back on you. They're not doing it because out of wisdom, but out of fear, and that's no good. Or they are stronger than you, and then they hurt you back immediately, or they lock up and they don't want to listen to you anymore. Yeah. So, but here he talks about anger that doesn't let go, anger that thinks, I am right, this anger is justified, I need to be angry, there's no other way like this, and totally only, you know, the tunnel view, only seeing one side of the whole thing. Yeah. And so I think what he means also, it's like that the positive deeds that we have done, that they get destroyed, or what does it say exactly? Whatever wholesome deeds, such as venerating the Buddhas and generosity that have been amassed over 1,000 years, will all be destroyed in one moment of anger. They will not, I don't think they will be destroyed totally, that they will never ripen anymore. But while you are angry, they cannot ripen. Because while you are angry, you cannot be happy. And positive seeds ripen in happiness and not in suffering. Okay, so, but you know, and anger becomes a habit. So the more we are angry, and the more we think, how justified it is and why I'm angry and all this, the more we plant seeds. Yeah. The more we plant seeds of moments of anger. Every time you have a short moment of anger, tack, the seed is planted. It goes like this. It's not that 1 hour of anger plants one seed. It's each moment of mind, which is very short. So there's many of them. And you see, and sometimes we do think that, well, the anger is gone because then we're calm again. But it's not dissolved. It has planted the seeds. And if you know about karma, karma increases. Yeah. And these karmic seeds, they are dynamic. You can work with them even if they haven't manifested yet, by later thinking about the situation and thinking, oh man, that wasn't really beneficial. That wasn't really good. And not just brushing it away because it seems as if the anger is not there anymore. It went into the subconsciousness. And the moment you meet the situation again, or a similar or the same person, tuck, it just comes back. There is nothing that is more destructive than anger, isn't it? It's such a strong energy that we all have, and we use it like totally, you know, not careful. If we could, you know, the energy of anger, if we would have the wisdom and the conscientiousness, the attention, the mindfulness, to kind of channel it in the right way so that it will be somehow beneficial. But no, it's like an elephant in a porcelain shop. You have this expression also in English or in Hebrew. In German, we have this thing, you know, the elephant in the porcelain shop. That's it. This is anger. It can destroy so much, you know, like friendships for years and years and years and years. One moment of anger. And it's really hurtful because anger wants to hurt. Not here, not conscientiously, but this anger, it has this kind of, it says, I need to hurt because he deserves it. That's another thing, another reason. They deserve to be unhappy. I want to make them unhappy, and then they will learn to be more happy. I mean, how more ridiculous can you be? But this is really the motivation behind the anger. Or we think we need anger in order to protect us. Have you ever tried to apologize to somebody that you hurt? Have you ever done it, or you just brush it over and you think, oh God, she or he will forget about it? Have you ever tried it? Benny says yes, he's nodding. Anybody else has ever tried? Yes, okay. Is it easy? It's very difficult, isn't it? So if you are a little bit kind of aware of your anger and you know, oh, anger is there, don't suppress it, but don't act it out. Especially when you're angry, be very careful of your mouth. Body, I think we are okay. I think none of us starts hitting people, hopefully. But there are people who are there. They are, yes, Danny?
I say it becomes easier with the time. When you see that you did it and nothing happened, then it becomes easier.
It comes easier, right? Because we feel that it's a great relief. Because it makes us suffer, thinking about the situation, thinking about the person is, you know, we approach this person with a lot of tension. Nothing, that the resonance between us is gone. It's not easy anymore. It doesn't flow anymore. It's not fun anymore to be with that person because we feel guilty. Yeah, but we don't know what to do. So as Dani says, don't wait too long. And if you admit, say, I'm sorry what happened. I'm sorry for what I said. Don't use any excuses. Just say, I know I was angry. I shouldn't have said that. It's really helpful because, you see, I think everybody knows that when we are angry, we are not ourselves. Everybody knows that when we are angry, we don't say the things that we would usually say. You would never say the same things when you are angry when your mind is calm. Never, ever. These hurtful things. So when you admit that you were angry, if the other person is an understanding person, they will understand she was not herself. She was angry. But again, if we go and apologize and we say, look, I'm really sorry, I mean, you put yourself in the hands of the other person. So they can totally take advantage of you and, you know, thank you, Anila. Well, okay, you're welcome. So you have to be prepared that the other person is not accepting. If people send me personal messages, you might have noticed it's not working because every message I see here, I read out. So don't send me personal messages because you might as well send them for everybody. Do you see what I mean? Because, you know, I can't see, is it for me? Is it not? Because talking, the reading, it's for an old person like me, it's a lot. On top of it, as I'm saying, I don't have you in front of me, which I miss you guys. So once the other person understands that, you know, you can say, I didn't mean it, I was angry. I said it because I was angry, yeah. But, you know, we try to, oh, because of this happened and and this and that. But we have to take into consideration that the other person is not willing to forgive us. That's another thing. So already it's very difficult to go and apologize, okay? We kind of need to be quite humble and say, oh, I was angry. I'm not in control of my mind totally. And also, then we have this expectation that the other person honors that I'm coming, that I'm taking all my courage and I'm coming and then saying, look, I'm sorry, I was angry. So then we expect that they will forgive us. But they might shut the door in front of us and say, get lost, I don't want to see you again. How do we react? If we're honest, how do we react? If we go there totally unprepared, because going there totally unprepared means we go with a lot of expectations that they will forgive us. That is unprepared. How would you react if the person just goes, get lost, I don't want to see you again? Would you say, yeah, okay, I understand, I hurt you, and go home totally calm? Would you do that? Probably not. The first moment would be, how dare you? Yeah. So then this first moment of how dare you, you need to keep it for a while and dissolve it before it disappears again into the subconsciousness. Dissolve it by saying, yes, if I wouldn't have said that word or these words, or if I wouldn't have done that act, which hurt her, she wouldn't be angry at me. So who is at fault? Is me. So all the verses that we are going through are these reasonings that when you are angry, that you kind of discuss with your anger. So Shantideva is giving you a lot of tools how to work with your anger. Okay, and the first one is, it's the first, I think, 6 verses. Verse 1 to 6 is he's talking about the disadvantage of anger, which we did 1 verse today. Isn't that fantastic? So we'll continue then next Wednesday. So we talk more. But I would encourage you also during the week now to, again, to feel when you're angry, upset, impatient, frustrated, to feel it, not to do anything with it, not to feed it, not to make it go away, not even yet to use arguments like Shantideva's arguments. To really feel the disadvantage of anger. How do I look? Oh, that's another good story. One Swedish guy, he had a problem with anger and he was upset about his anger. He wanted to get rid of it. So he asked a very good friend of him, he said, next time I'm really angry, could you please take a picture of me? So he took a picture, he blew it up and he put it in his living room. Yeah, I will tell you Charles' name. I will write. Bruno, est-ce que tu peux écrire le nom de Charles pour, et puis tu mets pour tout le monde, pour ceux qui sont intéressés. T'es encore là, Bruno? Maybe? Si t'es encore là, s'il te plaît, fais-le. Would you do that? What kind of photos of you do you put on the Facebook? Or on Instagram? Voila, here you are. Did you see everybody? That's Charles Trebol. So we put our most beautiful pictures, but he needed to see, he needed to see how he looks, so he has more interest. You know, at the beginning I said, if you want to practice patience, and if you want to go against your anger with in a skillful way, you need to have a gut feeling that I want this. I want to be patient. It has to be really, really deep. You have to be really convinced. Otherwise, like, you know, otherwise becomes lukewarm and then it doesn't work. Yeah. So next step, what you can do also during the week, because you have a phone, when you're really angry, take a selfie, send it to me, please. Okay. Who dares to do that? Be courageous. But you see, okay, but you see, we don't do it because we don't, no. Can you maybe please stop asking, sending messages, because it's a bit disturbing here. If you see yourself, you don't even need to take the picture. I tell you, you're angry, your anger already falls apart. Try it out, really. The moment you're angry, you take your photograph and you look at your face and you look so ridiculous. You look totally stupid when you're angry, really, you know? And we see that. You see, when children are angry at us, what do? How do you react to small children, no, not teenagers? How do you react to small children's anger?
You make faces.
Yeah, but inside?
We are laughing.
You're laughing because you're not afraid. So if you're not afraid of your own anger, because unfortunately, we're not afraid of our own anger. We should be more afraid. It makes you laugh because it looks totally ridiculous. Try it out. It's a very good antidote to anger. Make a selfie. Before I had to say, go and look in the mirror. I don't even have to say that anymore. It's because telephone is always with you. Make a selfie. Okay? And then, so during the week, also, whenever you feel that you are getting angry, please, the standard sentence, I am not my anger, but I have it. Okay? It's also very good. You make the step out of it. I am not my anger, because you become your anger when you don't make that step. But also don't give away responsibility. You have your anger, so you need to take care of it. And if you feel that you're a very angry person, you have to be very kind to yourself. Don't go, no ice cream because you got angry today. Give yourself that ice cream. Be kind to yourself in order for the anger not to come up again and again and again and again. Because the unhappier you are, the more frustrated the more angry you become. Give yourself these pleasures that you need, not just for the sake of the pleasure, but as a medicine. Make yourself that promise. I'm going to be kind to myself. And by being kind to yourself, getting less angry, you're also kind to others. Okay? So those are a few things you can do this week. Maybe you will not find any reasons to get angry. But by anger, I'm not talking about just the exploding one. Yeah, I'm talking about the energy that rushes up. So, but I hope you'll have a happy week. We do a short, we'll do a short reflection, sending out some light. Is that okay? For those who don't want to do it, thank you very much for joining us. And then you can go and do whatever you want to do. For those in the group, even though we're not together, but we can still do this as a group. There's not much we can do for the situations in the world, for the situation in the world, but we can at least try to generate a good heart, send out some light, and wish everybody well. This we can do, you know. If it doesn't help, I am very sure it does not harm. How can it harm if we sit here and send out light? Yeah. Then somebody, how does it help? I don't know, but it doesn't harm. Yeah, and definitely it helps you because you get in contact with your good heart. Oh, Michal, hi. I didn't see you before. Hey, good to see you. Wow. Sorry for those other ones I didn't greet personally. Okay, don't get jealous. Next time I see you. Okay, shall we do? Being a generator of light. While you get ready, I read Bruno's. Okay. Yeah, exactly. That's a good example. Bruno was saying, I got very angry at somebody before knowing that he's an autist. How do one differentiate if you're dealing with the anger or just suppressing it? Yeah, by practicing mindfulness and listening to the teachings and watching your mind. It's a very, very fine line. It's a very fine line. And the more you are calm, the more you have this ability to let things be as they are, which you train in mindfulness meditation, just to look, the more you will see what it is. But yeah, we have to start. It's a bit like when you're washing clothes, you know, by hand. You start with the very gross spots first before you start to go to these very fine things. So, yeah. But it's another thing. You can only detect that yourself. Nobody can tell you. You can only see it yourself. Yeah. Okay. So let's sit with a straight back. Connect to your body and connect to your good heart. And just think about the good deeds that you have done. And also, if you remember moments of anger, just understand, anger doesn't understand anything. Like Bruno said, I got angry at the person until I understood he's an autist. People are pains in the necks because they're not wise, they're not compassionate. Not because they want to be bad. Nobody wants to be bad. They're even more overcome by their negative emotions and habits than we are. So why getting angry at them? It's another verse of Shantideva. Why getting angry at all these childish people who can't control their minds? Then you're even more childish than them. We're all autistic. We're all self-cherishers. We're all just concentrated on ourselves, some more, some less. So we connect with the good heart. Close your eyes. Try to find your good heart. Hey, where's my good heart? Go look.
אוקיי. כולם שומעים אותי? אני לוסנג כרגע התקשרה ואמרה שהמחשב שלה נפל והיא תנסה תכף לחזור. היא התקשרה אליי בוואטסאפ, אוקיי?
תודה.
Yes. Okay. So, okay. 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 Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. What? Why? It's okay. No, okay, I go back to the group and say something and then talk to you later. Bye-bye. אוקיי, אז לוסנג ביקשה שאנחנו ניקח כמה דקות, זה לא עובד אצלה, אז ניקח רק כמה דקות, היא הפסיקה בזה שהיא ניסתה להציע לנו להתחבר למקום השקט והטוב, שבתוכו נמצא בכל אחד מאיתנו, להרגיש אותו במרכז הלב, הוא ישנו שם אצל כולנו, ומשם פשוט לשלוח הרבה אור לכל מי שנמצא סביבנו, כל אחד מכם בבית שלו, לכל מי שנמצא סביב הבית שלו, לקבוצה הזאת שאנחנו נמצאים פה ביחד עכשיו, מכירים או לא מכירים, הלב שלנו פתוח ורחב, ואין סוף קרני אור יוצאות מליבנו ומגיעות לכל מקום בעולם. קרני אור שהאיכות שלהם זה איכות של אהבה וחמלה וחוכמה וסבלנות, היכולת להכיל את הקשיים שלנו מול עצמנו, את הקשיים שמביאים לנו החיים. מרגיש את הלב הפתוח הזה, ואת אינסוף קרני האור שיוצאות ממנו, ומגיעות לכל מקום ביקום, לכל היצורים החשים באשר הם. ועם ההרגשה הזאת אנחנו יכולים ללכת לישון הערב ולקום מחר בבוקר ולהתאמן בהתמודדות עם כעס, כשאנחנו יודעים שיש לנו את הפוטנציאל להיות פתוחים, מקבלים, נינוחים. זה קיים בכל אחד מאיתנו. אז יכולים להקדיש את הזכות שצברנו הערב בתרגול ובלימוד, אם אני לכך שבאמת נוכל להתקדם בדרך הזאת. ברונו עזב אותנו. להתקדם בדרך הזאת, להבין את דבריו של שנטידבה לעומקם, להכיר את התודעה שלנו ולנסות להרגיל אותה למשהו אחר, שיקרב אותנו לאושר האמיתי, שנוכל על ידי כך גם לעזור לכל היצורים החשים, להגיע גם הם לאושר בר קיימא. תודה רבה, לילה טוב.
תודה רבה, לילה טוב לכולם. כיף בכל זאת להיפגש ככה. ביי.
תודה רבה לכולם.
ביי, תודה רבה.
ליאורה. כל הכבוד ליאורה.
עושים מה שאפשר.
כן, מעולה.
לסגור?
כן, ביי, לילה טוב.